So welcome to this webinar, Guided Imagery Drumming Essentials, 4 Steps to Successful Facilitation. I'm Christine Stevens, a board certified music therapist and master's level social worker. The way I wanted to construct this evening, this video call experience, and this has been exclusively offered to HealthRHYTHMS facilitators only. Believe me, we had a number of people who were interested that we turned away. So we really honor all of you for being part of our community, our global community. People registered for this call in 5 countries. So I'm very excited to be reminded of how global we are and all the places you're all working. Thank you so much for all that you do. So guided imagery drumming, I chose this as our focus because I wanted to really narrow in on this step of the protocol. And then the second reason is we could all use some relaxation right now. I think there's a lot of stress in the world, globally speaking, politically speaking, and it's a good time to have your own self-care practice around using the drum. And the third reason is I wanted to promote the upcoming HealthRHYTHMS Monthly Mentoring, which 2 people are on this call who participated in it last year, Becky Watson and Aura Gold. And so I'm happy to see you both. And it's gotten more professional, I would say. We've really honed some of the topics. We've created video intros for every class, PDF handouts. You get to be part of a global community that gathers once a month for an hour to an hour and a half. And we have 9 topics that I've selected after coaching and training people for 16 years. And I mostly felt like we needed something that was advanced for you. And when you're out in the field, that's when you're really getting the training, right? So this is a training that takes place where you are in your work with topics, everything from successful facilitation techniques to clinical adaptations, to how to use themes, to how to handle problems, to how to do selling and marketing of your services in the healthcare arena, and then also to work with corporations in workplace wellness. So that's the whole idea of why we're doing this in terms of giving you a free sample tonight so you can see how Zoom works, how I work, how we structure these kind of experiences. I like to call it an experience because get ready, whenever you're working with me, it's very engaging. This is a very interactive experience tonight. We might not have enough time to have everyone speaking because we have 60 people on the call already, but we will definitely be asking you, I will be asking you to participate in lots of ways. In fact, we'll start that way. So take your hand, put it on your heart, take a breath. Wherever you are. Come into this moment. I invite you to take some deep breaths. Let go of your to-do list, the tasks, and be fully present in this global virtual community, connected around the desire to bring drumming, group drumming, and HealthRHYTHMS into health and wellness in all kinds of settings. Just take a moment to feel this drum beat. Maybe tap on your lap with your fingertips. Just feel that beat. The rhythm calls us to gather, and together. The rhythm that unites us all. Okay. So I'm going to, in the course of this call, I'm going to be splitting off to my screen share so that you can see the PowerPoint slides, and you all will get or did get the PDF of the handouts for tonight. And don't worry if you didn't, they'll come again. But they were in Alyssa's email to you. And I'll begin with the slides so that we can all come together and learn a little bit. This is based on my experience of 16 years doing guided imagery drumming. And the most important thing is the reason I wanted to choose this step of the protocol is I was so uncomfortable leading this step of the protocol. And remember, in the original protocol, there was no inspirational beats, there was no wellness exercise. Guided imagery drumming was brought in because Dr. Bittman built the protocol in collaboration with an integrative team based on 7 evidence-based elements, one of them being visualization. So this step really is important because we're getting at that visualization potency. Last week, by chance, I caught the documentary about Ken Burns, who's done many documentaries. It was on PBS, and he said, yes, I hire great videographers, but he said in the PBS interview, what's most important to me is the soundtrack. And I was sitting there going, yes, it is the visual and the auditory. And in our case, we are doing this live. So let me pull up the PowerPoint and I will share my screen with you all. That's another very cool feature of this Zoom. Another reason we really like it. Okay. Are you seeing my screen? Good. Thanks for nodding. Okay, I wanted to show you just a picture of when I did HealthRHYTHMS training in Seoul, Korea. These are music therapists and psychologists. And what I loved is what they did is they used their phones. There's very technology-oriented culture. And they wrote their guided imageries on their phones, their scripts, and they also added pictures, and they showed pictures sometimes from their phones. They used auditory settings of ocean sounds and bird songs. And I just love these pictures because they're in these small groups practicing guided imagery drumming, you know, using the softer instruments, thunder tubes, and using their phones as a very important, helpful tool. So tonight, mainly we're going to go through these 4 steps. How you do this, and I want you to really remember this, because this creates success. You introduce it, you prepare the group. So those are 2 separate things. So then I do the experience. And I think in my 16 years of doing this, and I think back on doing this with people right after 911, and I had 100 people do a guided imagery drumming, that's when I really understood that to say what's going to happen, then prepare the group for it, then do the experience, and then the integration and sharing, which is impossible when you have, 100 people, but it is possible because you can do it in dyad sharing. Now, when I taught that in Seoul, Korea, people were like, this is a breakthrough, because Asian culture, and especially Korean individuals felt shy to speak in a group. So when you say, turn to your partner and take a minute to share with each other, and always direct that exercise a couple of minutes each on what was your experience like. The purpose of this step in the protocol is integration and inward focus. I love this step because when you have more shy people, if you have more, which is a cultural trait, if you have more introverted people in a HealthRHYTHMS group, they can feel really overstimulated. So, and tasked. So here we go. We're going to introduce and then prepare. I would introduce it by saying this step is going to bring in a very important evidence-based element of health, which is visualization. And if we can see it, our bodies don't know the difference if it's real or not. It creates a sonic mood change. This step of the protocol is very different than entrainment building, right? We can bring in unique sounds. We have an opportunity to create a very different soundscape. It's softer, number 1. Number 2, I often bring in things like singing bowl. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Get ahead of myself. The challenge, I think, with this step is the sculpting of the transition, because it is a very different feeling, this step. And the other challenge I've always had is how to create or improvise a script. Anybody relate to that? I mean, really, we're not, we're not necessarily poets or script creators, but the truth of it is you are all natural storytellers. And I realized another tip today as I was preparing to teach this tonight. I go outside when I'm preparing one of these. I try to stand in nature. I try to stand somewhere soothing, or sit on a meditation space, wherever you go, you know, be in energy. It's hard to write this when you're sitting in a cubicle, I find. So maybe put the ocean sound on your phone. I use my phone a lot for sounds. Also, I think a challenge is balancing verbal guiding and creative expression, right? This is the one step of the protocol where you're really speaking while they're drumming. And knowing the rhythm of that. Have I said too much? Did I not say enough? Quick side story, when I spent 12 years studying with a Lakota shaman, Uncle Eagle El Council Pipe Manny Sandoval, and he one time came with me to do a drum circle at Remo. It wasn't HealthRHYTHMS, but it was a drumming group. And he said to people, close your eyes and drum. And he drummed the heartbeat and he said, now go into your drum. And that's the last thing he said. And people were gone for 5-10 minutes, just inside that cue. So I thought, well, there's the bare minimum, you know, but you don't want to overspeak. So I want to speak to that challenge tonight, how we create a balance of pausing. The goals of this step is a mood, a cognitive and inward experience, integration. Integration is very important about this. Inward. It's directly transferable to individual practice, meaning you can take this skill home with you after an event because it's something an individual can do. You can't always transfer people drumming with others. They have to set that up. It takes work. This is an immediately transferable skill. It also can be used one-to-one. I mentioned some of the research you can look at. The contraindications, I think, is really important. Some imagery can trigger people because it's that powerful. Okay. So we also want to make sure that we invite people to open their eyes if they feel uncomfortable. So please always remember, and is that an introduction or preparation? That's a preparation. The preparation is to say, is anybody uncomfortable with the ocean? Is anybody uncomfortable with something where we travel in the forest? Or what kind of nature do you guys like? You know, something like that. And then to say, if at any point you're uncomfortable for any reason, you can always open your eyes. Just focus on me. Let me know if you need some support. Here, let's get into the soundscape. This is something I really dig because, like Ken Burns said, the soundscape is more important to him. Ken Burns, the award-winning documentarian, I loved his national parks piece. If anybody hasn't seen that, it's amazing. The American National Parks. What he said is that it's more important to him than anything is the soundscape. So, first tip. We're kind of beyond beats here, right? We're looking for ambient sounds. And natural sounds, things that are more going to stimulate us to think of nature. So I brought my little bag. You know, you all have a bag like this, right? I have a different bag now for guided imagery drumming. So I have different things that I pull out, like a cricket. How cute. Oh yeah, you can't see it because I'm on screen share. Okay, well, I'm not going to show you these. I'll just play a couple sounds. That's even more perfect. So you can just hear this. Oh, I can stop sharing for a moment.
Actually, we can see you. You're down in the bottom right.
Oh, okay. Well, I stopped sharing the screen, so watch. You know, stuff like this. Now, what if you're the only one? Yes, you can pass out some instruments as a pip band. And as I teach everybody, first make the sounds. See if there's a couple volunteers that want to play them. And this is enough. I'm just going to show 3 or 4, like singing bowl, which you can play with your hand or with a banger, a beater, but I'm always careful to show people, don't hit this hard and hold your hand this way, not this way. Unless you're in a Japanese temple. So I love sounds like this, just those 3 alone, you know, so nature sounds, rain sticks. I have my little ankle bells, which double as kind of like a wind sound, right? And then my ever famous, what I so do love, the Sansula Hokima Kalimba, because I love its tuning. And I love that there's no wrong notes. And I also love that if I have adolescents or adults or corporation, I say just text. If you know how to text with your thumbs, you can play the kalimba. Just notice for yourself right now if your breathing changes, if you feel something from this. And I often play and leave space. So this would be the wrong way to play for guided imagery drumming. Right? I mean, it's like, okay, let's get going. It might be good if you were going to go on a journey and you were going to say, we're going to go on this journey and the horses are here. Let's go on the horse. You know, I don't want to ever say never, but my point is to create a soundscape of relaxation and pause. So just having some very different instruments is my point here. I think I love to use also things like the thunder tubes, ambient sounds. Have a separate bag. That's the biggest tip I would say to you, is create a separate bag where you have some of these instruments. I also use my flute a lot, rain sticks. Now let's get to the digital. Smartphone people or iPad, any kind of download system you can use. What I recommend is an app called Relax Melodies. I really like this, Relax Melodies. I think it was 99 cents. And the quality of the sound is very good. I find that this is the ocean sound. I can layer sounds. I can add wind. They have a piano, all kinds of sounds, right? So play around with these. There's a lot more of these kind of relaxation apps because people are stressed out. So I like integrating that, and you can also use plug it into something like a Bluetooth speaker, which is a really good way to get that effect. Move forward. Okay, recommended rhythms. So again, heartbeat, a pulse. Why I wrote walking rhythm because what I want to teach you tonight is that really do things that transfer to drumming. Like as we walk, step by step, walk on your drum, alternating hands just like you're walking at a comfortable pace, right? So walking rhythm is a pulse. Varying the tempo and dynamics is a really helpful thing, because if you're going to be with people that have lower attention spans, it's a really important thing, I think, to do. And I know that you know this, but having a pit band, meaning offering a couple of instruments so that there's support for you. Now, what's a good mix? I put also this nice list of instruments, and then I put at the bottom, what's a good ratio? Oh, and your voice. Tuned instruments, your voice. Your voice. If you're a singer, beautiful if the group is drumming. And then you just add a little voice. You know, by previewing it, by saying something like, and then you hear a voice off in the distance, welcoming you. Right? And the ratio is important here because I don't want to hand out, if I have a group of 10 people, I don't want to hand out 10 crickets and frogs and singing bowls, right? So like I said, 3 or 4 items in a group of 10 is too many. Like 3 would be too many. Okay. going to take a moment now to, I'm hearing a sound. I don't know why that would be because everybody's muted. If you're standing by a blender, let me go back in and remute everybody. Something went wrong. That's strange. Oh, it's got better. Okay, so here's the 4 steps again. It says 1, 2, 3, 3. Introduce, prepare, experience, integrate, and share. Let's break it down. Introduction. State the benefits. Acknowledge the shift in focus. That's all. This next step of today's program is called Guided Imagery Drumming. How many of you have ever felt like when you can see it, when you can picture it, it changes your mood? Hold on for 1 second. I'm concerned about the sound. If you're not muted for some reason, okay, thank you. Someone caught it. So state the benefits and acknowledge that this is different. This step of the protocol is more of an opportunity for you to go inward, to integrate the experience you've had today. Your focus is not on the group, it's just on relaxation for yourself. So, a couple tips on how we're going to do this. Now I'm on preparation. Just use your fingertips, no mallets. You might do progressive muscle relaxation where you tense and release and exhale. Let's all do that for 1 minute. Ready? Tense. Exhale. Let's just do the shoulders. Tense. Exhale and release. Sit back in your chair and breathe. Now, before we begin, let me just ask if anybody would be offended if we did a trip to the ocean. Would anybody be upset with something around the sunset? So I would ask these questions, right? And I want to remind everybody that if you do feel upset or if something alarms you, you can always open your eyes at any time. Now, I put in there dim lights if clinically appropriate. So it might be appropriate for a group to dim the lights, and they don't need to close their eyes. It's better. Step 3, experience. Hold on. Stop sharing my screen. Get in here and figure out why I'm mute all. Okay. Sorry for that. Pause. Thanks everybody for being patient. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So now we have introduced and we've prepared. Everybody got that difference? Say yes. Okay, so right now, you're not going to hear each other, but just right now, repeat after me. This next step is guided imagery drumming. The focus of this is relaxation through the combination of visualization and drumming. It's a very different experience in our program today. It's softer and it's more inward. And how many of you have ever felt when you can picture something, your body can actually change? If you picture being somewhere beautiful, you notice that your mood changes and even your body changes. Anybody ever felt that? Repeat that whole sentence. Just kidding. That was a long one. But now I'm introducing, right? Next is preparation. So in order to do this step, we're going to first put down the mallets. I want everybody to play drums. And I want you to comfortably place your drum on your lap. And I wanted to just ask before we begin if anybody would be offended if we were visualizing going someplace like the ocean, or if we were going to be watching a sunset, or if we were going to be waking up and it's spring, because today is, I think, the equinox, or yesterday. So it's always good to be aware, right, of nature and the rhythms of nature. I might ask the group, could I dim the lights a little? That dimming the lights is great. It's a scene change. And now I'm going to need a few people to play some different instruments so we can really imagine that we're not in this hospital right now. I need some cricket players. I need somebody on the singing bowl, right? So I do my demo. I engage my pit band. This is all preparation, right? And then basically, as I speak this story, you don't want to play louder than my voice. So let me take you on a journey. Don't worry if you can't picture what I'm speaking. And if you go on your own journey, that's fine too. Just remember to come back to the group at the end. Then I do the experience, which I'm going to go into a little deeper. And then we do the integration and sharing. Right? So let's talk about the experience. You can keep your eyes open. I always know that that's hard for all of us. You may have to play the bass drum, as you know, while you're guiding. Now let's talk about imagery. I'd like everybody to write down 3 nature scenes that could be relaxing. We tend to go with nature. It doesn't have to be nature. But tonight, let's just practice nature scenes. Generally, people do feel that's peaceful. Maybe sitting by a riverbank, listening to the river speaking. If you had a rain stick, that'd be a really easy one. Maybe just a journey to the heart. It can be a metaphoric journey, right? Write down 3 journey locations or imagery that you would like to work on. And as you're working on that, I'm going to throw out one other thing. Write down 3 adjectives for inner relaxation. Here's some I put: peaceful, serene, expansive, majestic, azure. Right? I tell you, the imagery is in the adjectives. And we often don't speak as painters would, right? So I'm calling on your inner poet and your inner painter. You're painting a picture. And you know when you see a well-painted picture, how it pulls you in and you're in the scene. So you're the painter and you're saying, it's a peaceful day. A light wind. You can feel it blowing on your face. Kinesthetic language. I feel it on my face. I smell. We're using the senses. I smell the start of something new. I hear a call down the river, and a boat pulls up with a beautiful guide who invites me into the boat. And the rhythm of the river, you join the rhythm of the river. See, that's how I would do that, right? Join me now on your drum as we float down the river. Magenta blooms on cactus rise along the banks. I'm just going to keep talking while you're writing. Is this helping? Right, so write down 3 adjectives. Shimmering blades of grass, light in the morning dew. You feel peaceful and at one with the beauty that surrounds you. That would be pretty much enough, right? That got you there, I hope. So write down these adjectives for yourself. Write down a list of 3 scenes that you could work with. I told you I was going to be interactive tonight. And now for the big hint. Beginning your journey with them, how do we get them in, right? And you know my favorite is the brushing. Put your open hand on the drum, emulating the sound of wind. And before we can begin the journey, we have to be willing to leave everything behind. Worries, doubts, questions, anger. Can you let it go? And you might even have to say to the group, can you let it go on your drum with a big rumble so we can be ready to go on our journey? Okay. So just rest your hand on your drum. And then you set up the situation, then you invite the rhythm. You have to often invite the rhythm in. Otherwise, people will just sit and receive, which is not wrong, okay? When I see a group and they're mostly sitting and receiving after I've invited it clearly, that's okay. Maybe for them, they haven't been given that. Have you noticed, by the way, the popularity of sound baths at yoga studios right now? Anybody notice that? Right, so having a person sit and receive is also a good thing. So if you want on the chat bar, you can share your adjectives. Don't share the scenes because those tend to be wordier, which is fine. And it's really powerful to use a scene from your direct experience, but is also pretty common, like a common, something people can tag into, right? Like, I'm not going to take people on a, skiing journey, right? So, but I want to take people on something that's pretty common, but I've physically experienced. Does that make sense? I figured it out, sorry. How to hide thumbnail, sorry about that. So you can put in the chat bar your adjectives. I'm very excited to see them. In fact, I'm gonna take a look at them right now. Okay. Rainforest, mountaintop. Ooh, smell the rain. These are great. Yes, we get a recording of this, and I actually am going to be able to record your texting on the chats. I mean, you're typing on the chats. Zoom will record this. That's why I love this. Shimmering is beautiful. Gentle and soft is great. Gentle and soft is great. Golden, calm, cool, beautiful. I love reading these. Okay, so Myra, when you wrote hardwood forest near my home, a calm river that I recently visited, this is what I'm talking about. When you can go to that river mentally, right, with your imagery. Get your drum. So often we don't practice this. That's why it feels uncomfortable, but it just takes a moment of doing it for ourselves, which is a gift. Beach in Hawaii is beautiful, Lulu. Yes. Oh, I love what you wrote. Soft breeze, swaying palm trees, and the waves rolling. And then you could say, now that she's really given us her picture and she's painted it, we could then join the rhythm of the palm trees swaying back and forth, letting the wind move you, effortless and free. Be a palm tree overlooking the ocean. Put that feeling on your drum. There's a phrase you should write down. Put that feeling on your drum. It's not just an inspirational beats. That can happen in guided imagery drumming. Share that feeling on your drum. And you're watching how people drum. So Peter, I love that. Hear waves gently lapping on the side of the boat. Lapping is great. I mean, gently lapping is beautiful. Good, Donna, great. Ocean, wind in the sails. And you feel the wind that is supporting you like that sail. Remember to make it also to them. And you see that wind that drives a boat forward, and you know there is a wind behind your sails, and you're ready to be open to receive that. Share that when you're drum. Let's keep getting some more of the adjectives. We're all learning a lot from each other on this call. Wind caressing your skin. I'm reading them out loud for the people that are phoning in. Ooh, wildflower meadow. Yes. And of course, if I was leading, well, I am going to lead you in one. In the spring is a great time because we have budding things popping up from the earth, opening their buds, the tender green colors of new growth. And you feel from the flowers permission to break through the ground and bloom in your journey towards blossoming. Share that on your drum, right? Wow, I love that. These are so great. Evergreen, I can't keep up. Birds chirping is great. The word chirping is really good. Chirping, birds chirping and singing. And I actually have a bird chirping call that I've been using in my groups. It's really great. It's from the Audubon Society. You can buy it on the internet. It costs like $6. The smell of hot dogs on the boardwalk. I wouldn't use that because I had an immediate reaction. I'm vegetarian. So that's a good, I'm glad you put that so we can be sensitive to that. It could be the smell of your favorite food cooking on the boardwalk. So it can be personalized. Sounds of someone making balloon animals for children who are laughing with joy. That's beautiful. We're going to go on a walk on the boardwalk with our drum. So the wind in the pines, the buttery biscuit moon. Wow, Mark, calm, gentle water flow, marmalade sun peaks over the horizon, warm breeze blowing, birds singing, rippling river, gentle breeze, air pungent with full bloomed blossoms. Beauty, you guys got this. Okay, you got it. But see how just that exercise generated a lot of ideas. So I like a cavernous cave and dripping water. I would remove the word deep, cave. That made me feel afraid. So some people, cave is panic. So that would be another one to check out. Or it could be an open, spacious cave with light streaming in so that I don't feel tight. So this makes sense how we have to like a little bit tweak these. Sounds of seagulls, dipping, soaring, and swerving. Yeah, and you connect to the playful flight of seagulls over the ocean on your drum. See how easy this is? It's really a sequence. It's a systematic sequence. Introduce, prepare, set the imagery, paint the picture, invite the rhythm. Yes, the canyon. My group likes taking flight and looking and feeling the journey, looking in. They also like the rainforest. This is great. Mary knows what her group likes. Now, taking flight is a wonderful imagery. As you stand at the edge of this cliff, you are given wings from the birds. You become the bird of your choice and lift off into the wind. Whatever it is, obviously not appropriate for people with suicidality. Okay. Great. The rainforest, a lake trip. Something about a trip works for this guided imagery drumming because its rhythm fits with forward motion. Something about going somewhere and bringing them back. Or it could be just going inward. Remember that too. You enter the loving openness of your heart, the deeper heart, the heart that has been pounding through this group today, and know that you're alive. And share your heart on your rhythm. So that's great. Somebody asked a question about Alzheimer's groups. Absolutely, this applies to Alzheimer's groups. Sometimes we go back in time. Let's go back into the old car. You get in the car for a Sunday drive. There's happy music on the radio. Happy music. Your favorite tune comes on the radio. Put that feeling on your drum. Yeah, I think as Trina wrote, going back into childhood or teen years is great. Now, let's all go to a dance. You've got to get dressed up, put on your nice clothes, put in your rollers, right? So let's go with some more inward imagery words. So if we're going to go into the heart, or we're going to go into the soul, or we're going to go visit the part of us that is where music comes from, your creative soul. Warm blanket. Oh, I love warm blanket. That's a beautiful example. Simple, but exactly perfect. And I'm noticing on this call, too much imagery doesn't work, because if you said a warm red Pendleton blanket, for all you know, one person hates red. So the less we are specific, a warm blanket is great. So we're not cooking hot dogs tonight on the boardwalk. We're cooking your favorite food. That's good learning. Cozy socks. I love that. Cozy socks. So let's go within. What are some of the more within things we could say? Noticing, feeling the cells of your body, the immune cells of your body strengthened, right? Bella Ruth Naperstein is the most famous at this. I got to hear her keynote last year in a conference for healing touch practitioners. Oh, the sound of your mother's heartbeat. I wouldn't say before you had ears. I would just say before you were, could say in the womb, because you had ears at 5 months gestation, I think. Warm glow, nice wording. I hope you guys are all coming up with these. Well, actually, I'm going to email everybody this list, so don't worry about it. We all get to lose. I want this list, like in my phone when I go to my next group. So inward, let's go to the cells. Let's go to the immune system. Yeah, stillness is great. A lullaby you want to hear. Oh, great idea. A lullaby you love. That took me into the song immediately. That allowing that personalization is great. So let's go into the cells of the body, feeling the strength of your muscles, feeling the energy, the motivation to get better, right? It can be really inward. Feeling a place that's been sad in your life be allowed to be expressed and soothed by the beauty of the music, right? The breath moving through your body is a great phrase. And I could do that while I'm brushing, because this is the air sound on your drum. Feel the breath moving through your body. I love that. The pulsing of blood, exactly. You are rhythm. Strong and powerful, alive and present. Oh, Carmen added a great one. Catch a cloud, go up on a cloud and feel light and free. And you could even say, and from this beautiful vantage point, there's nothing here to bother you. The soft cotton clouds that catch the crimson red light of a sunset and carry you gently back down. Oxygen flowing through the blood to every cell. I really like that. I really like that. Peter, I'm going to offer an edit to you. Follow the blood through your body, I think is a little creepy for people. So I would just say, feel the pulsing of blood through your body, the aliveness of the rhythm of life. Does that make sense? So as we go through these, you can edit them slightly. The gentle warmth spreading is a great one. Feel a warm light in your heart that gradually grows as the rhythm strengthens on your drum, flowing out your shoulders down to the very edge of your fingertips and toes. You're covered in light. Be with this warm blanket. Put that feeling on your drum. So now I'm pausing. This is my point about the balance. I felt the natural pause. Did you hear it? I felt the natural pause. Feeling safe, whole, and perfectly well. Yes. Tingling, floating in the aliveness of you. You guys are poets. And it's not to say poetry, but I take poetry classes, so I'm really tuning in lately to how poetry similarly paints the picture. Yeah, that's great, Carmen. Listen to the air filling your lungs. Okay, good question. Aura asked, how long do you do a guided imagery? I'm going to answer that question, but let me go back to the slides. Was that a helpful practice? Because it's hard to be the one who's driving the creativity. This is the deal, guys. You're the one prompting them. Oh, I have to read Lulu's. Swallow a smile. Take that smile to your heart. Let your heart smile. Let it go into your lungs. And Lulu, I would adjust this. Let that smile go to any place in your body you need some laughter and some love. That's a really great one. See, that's her whole thing. My point is, after that, she says, put that on your drum as you travel. Every now and then she might remind them, continue to feel that warmth and that smile in you. And then how does she bring us back? Let's talk about the ending of that. always bring them back. Right? And how you got there is how you return. So come back to feel that smile return to your face. Know that you can share that smile with your body at any time. Know you can go back to this place another time. But let's come back down the river. Let's come out of the boat. Let's thank the guide. Let's really take the steps. And here's a good rule of thumb. The further you've gone deep in an imagery, the more careful you are to bring it back. Anybody see the movie Sully? This is about landing an aircraft. You've taken them in a picture. You need to bring them, land the aircraft. It's like, okay, and you're coming down on the cloud descends to the earth. The cloud gives you a warm hug. You put that rhythm on your drum as you come back to the room. I really like the idea of people returning with the rhythm continuing versus the rhythm stopping and then they open their eyes. I've been really liking, keep the rhythm coming. You're coming back into the room. When you're ready, open your eyes, look around, acknowledge people, and listen for a natural ending. Or let's soften the beat back to our rubbing the drum. So I had two questions. How long do we last and what do you do with bipolar people? So the guided imagery drumming says 5 to 10 minutes, but sometimes, as I've been doing with oncology clients, longer. So it's just a matter of if I'm going to spend more time for that group that needs more inward focus and more specific healing visualization, I will eliminate other steps. I might take out inspirational beats. It depends on the goals of the group, case by case. Bipolar is, be careful if people are in a manic phase. They probably could really benefit from the imagery, but they might not be able to do the imagery. But you could say to somebody, just keep your eyes open and enjoy the music. So if you guide their focus to the music, that will work. Let me just go back to the screen and see if there's anything else I wanted to cover in the PowerPoint. Yes, follow clear steps to return back to the room. Very important. Partner share. I think it's really great to say, you know, turn to your partner and make sure you partner people up because it's really not good. When one person feels left out, it can really trigger negative feelings. Ask a question like, how many of you could visualize? Raise your hand. How many just less enjoyed the drumming? Great, either one is fine. How many felt an actual meditation experience? I'm always surprised how many hands come up. How many people always had a hard time meditating, but today you did it. And then they can also share with a large group. If you're a small group, anybody want to share about their experience, but be careful because the sharing is important, but it can like go and go and go. So it's important that you don't say, I want to hear every story of your imagery because people will tell you their story and it'll take too long. So say, how do you feel now? What was one useful part of your imagery? What piece of your visualization will you take back into your life? That kind of thing. Okay. We covered that. We're almost done. So I'm going to send you as a gift from me 2 sample scripts. One is for workplace wellness and one is for recovery groups. And also I just mentioned these resources. Bella-Ruth Naperstek. Unbelievable. I heard her speak at the Healing Touch conference. She led an imagery for our group for 15 minutes that was so potent. It was about feeling the love in your heart. You know, simple, but so powerful. And if you just look at her website, and she has many great resources, just listen to one of her things and it'll really improve your guiding. But what she doesn't do that we do, that's powerful and unique, is that we combine this with the actual experience, right, of participating, which is so powerful because that way people who are anxious are doing something and they're making the music. So those are the 4 steps, just to review. You introduce, you prepare, right? Because again, this is about getting this transition in steps. You give the experience, and you reflect. Allow a little moment of integration. If you don't have much time, if you're at the end of your show, as many of us are at this step, don't ask for sharing. Just say, take a breath, think about one part of that experience that could help you. Put down your drum and let's end with some breathing. You don't have to do a sharing. It's good to ask if anybody had a difficult experience and needs help. Let them know. But again, the purpose of the protocol is the combination of exercise in the drumming and the entrainment and the camaraderie and support and the rhythm naming and all the other pieces. So this is not just a guided imagery drumming show, but when we use this step, even if you have 5 minutes, and I'll do one in 5 minutes right now because we're running out of time. Even in 5 minutes, you can do it. Even in 3 minutes, you can do it. Right? Before I do the final experience tonight, of course, I want to say the hugest thanks to everyone who's in this call. We have 72 people live on the call. It's a record it's my personal record. That's pretty cool. And it's also wonderful that this many of you are doing health rhythms. I haven't seen you all in a while, whoever you took the training with, and I just appreciate that you could be with me tonight and that you care to improve how you do health rhythms. And I hope you'll consider joining our journey for 9 months. We do it for 9 months because it's not just a 1 hour thing. It takes time to really learn the selling, the marketing, the facilitation, the using themes, which is really important, inspirational beats, what are some questions, how to work with different populations, how to adjust. The questions that came up are so typical, like what do I do with bipolar? What do I do with seniors? So we really talk about all that stuff. As Aura and Becky know, they're graduates of that program. And I really consider this an advanced training because you're out in the field. And to me, that's the best place to learn, is where you can actually do some experiences with your clients based on what I'll be covering with you and reminding you and tweaking and helping. And also, the other thing is that things are changing, guys. There's a lot more research out there now that I want to catch you up on. There's even new drums. I don't know if you know that Remo has a whole new line called the Comfort Sound Technology drums. I was just at the music therapy show and I showed those drums. And they're softer. They're the perfect guided imagery drum. Maybe some of you use the Bahia Buffalo drum, things like that Remo is made specifically for quieting. Yes, the 22-inch Buffalo drum is really amazing. What Remo link? I don't know what you mean. Can I send the Remo link to the Remo drums? I can send it in follow-up, yeah. But I did want to, and the other thing I forgot to say that's really cool this year with the 9-month program, which is like $33 a month when you figure out the price, I think. The good thing about it is that we have shot videos to introduce each of the 9-month segments. So you'll go online, you'll actually see me. I'll be talking to you on video for like 3 minutes, telling you about that session. You'll get a PDF download, all to prepare you to really learn when we get on the call. The other great thing about the call is the other people on the call, like tonight, the chat bar going and different ideas that happen and the sharing, and we practice things. Like we practice selling and marketing and closure and things like that. So that's why I wanted to offer this call so that you'll all sign up and join the 9-month course. It's once a month. The time we've chosen is Tuesdays at 4 p.m. And some people even do take the course just in order to listen to the rewinds of them, because you get the recordings. It's starting on April 11th. I chose that because I like 1-1. Good people are writing about their experience who've taken it. So it starts April 11th, and the deadline to sign up is April 10th. So we recognize that it might happen at the last minute, but we really hope you're coming. I have already gotten 2 people signed up, so I really celebrate that I'm going to be working with, I know at least 2 people are coming to this course, but we have lots of space. We can have 72 of you. So to me, that's what advanced training is in the field. So check that out and look into that. And it's been really great for me. I've been looking for ways to continue to offer. I teach the basic training, but I've been looking for ways to keep educating the people that are trained. I like growing, so it really helps me with my skill set to keep teaching what I keep learning. And having done health rhythms for lots of years with lots of populations, I keep learning and I want to keep educating you guys. You also get a lot of worksheets and things that help you really organize the program. I will send the link, no problem, before the end, or maybe I'll send it in the follow-up email, okay? Okay, so let's do a closing imagery. Because that was a lot of content. So thanks for listening. Whew, hand on heart. And you're on mute, so you can drum along. If you're ready, brush your drum. I'm stealing ideas from tonight. Just feel the breath in your body. Hear the sound on your drum. Take a moment to relax. To find that inner heartbeat, that place of love and light in you. There's been a lot of stress happening in the world right now. And there's great places to hide from stress, the inner heart, or coming up for air, you know, like if you need to just take a news break. I have friends who are doing that a lot lately, taking news breaks, taking a little break from things. So right now we're on a news break. Tune into the inner news. Feel the muscles in your shoulders softening. Feel your muscles in your face softening. With your hand on your drum, begin to put your heartbeat into the music, however you want to express that. Knowing that 70 people are connecting with you right now. The heartbeats are unified in Health Rhythms tonight. Feeling like a golden light in your heart chakra, in your heart center. Sorry, I'm from Southern California. I say chakra, I forgot. But really feeling that golden light, that inspiration of being reconnected to the Health Rhythms family. Don't you feel that? It's like, wow, yay, I'm not alone. Feel the connection and imagine this circle of 70 Health Rhythms facilitators gathered around drumming together in a unified heart rhythm. And when you're ready, continuing to feel that support and connection in this circle tonight, feeling that golden light. Let's place that golden light in our hands that are on the drum. Gratitude for the drum. For all it's allowed you to say today in this group. When you're ready, you can gradually open your eyes. So notice that I played a different music, right? Cueing that we're shifting. Take a breath and take your hand back to your heart. Feel that golden light from your hand and your drum. And your shoulders softening, your face softening. So it doesn't take long, and it is important because you get this permission to go more inward, perfect balance to outward. Visualization is an inside job, and the person gets to learn a skill that they can take with them outside of the group. So know when things get rough, you can close your eyes, bring in some visualization, and sound brings in the visualization. And you can play your drum in this technique anytime you need. It's 5:01. That's pretty, I'm sorry, in California. I know in Australia, people are like, what are you talking about, 5:01? So thank you. What we're going to do is we're going to grab the text messages. Zoom collects those for us. So you'll get those in the chat. I mean, not text messages, the chat. The kalimba is Hokima Sansula Kalimba. Contact me if you'd like to purchase one because I love them so much. I've decided to represent them. And if you go to their website, there's Christine Stevens, music therapist, talking about using the kalimba in therapy because, like I said, the metaphor of texting is awesome, but also this thing is got a Remo Renaissance drum head on it. So it doesn't break, doesn't get affected by weather, and I can put it on someone's body and it'll resonate. Do you hear that? See, it's just good to have these, a few of these. You don't have to have too many. Again, I wanted you to not walk away saying I'm going to bring 1,000 bells. Hokima Sansula Renaissance Kalimba. See, we got the word Renaissance in it now. It's an African instrument made by Germans. So it's precise. But it comes from an African origin. Yes, it's in A minor. So you can play an A minor Native American flute with it. Contact me if you want one. And also, I will send the Remo link. I wrote a little note to myself. What I'll send you guys is the Remo link to the new Comfort Sound drums. They are incredible. I just took them to the music therapy show. They're beautiful. They're soft. I mean, an autistic kid was walking down the hall to my booth and he came and played. I said, see, they work. And the 16-inch is really nice, but they have 12, 14, and 16. But even this is my 10-inch healing drum and it's got a nice low pitch. And I forgot to mention one thing. If you're guiding, you can use a mallet and have everybody else use their hands. That's an easy way to be the dominant beat. If you don't have a bigger drum, use a bigger mallet and you'll be the more dominant. As we get to the field, we begin to have fun and dance, right? That kind of rhythm. If there's no other questions, I'll just close by thanking you guys for being here tonight and for doing Health Rhythms wherever you do it. I got to see the sign-up sheet and I saw all the places where you work and it's very inspiring and I love all the different names. People are naming their businesses, these cool names, and we are such a cool group because Health Rhythms has now trained almost 3,000 people. And people are working in universities and hospitals. We're getting a list together of all the amazing places where you're taking Health Rhythms, forensic psych, you know, it's incredible. Yoga studios and spas. I was in the spa just yesterday in Manitou Springs 2 days ago, teaching in a spa, doing a guided imagery drumming because that's the piece of Health Rhythms that fits in a spa, right? Guided imagery drumming. All right. So my final closing is just to say to you guys that I'm in a lot of gratitude for having been with Remo for 16, 17 years now. I just talked to Barry the other day. He sends his love and says hi as well. And we are just really proud to continue this. Please consider signing up and please consider practicing before you go into do your imagery and use these 4 steps. And I think you'll find great success. Good night and happy drumming.